Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to another video. You are with Mr. EE, Mr. Everything English, and we are back in the car. If you've been following my page for a while, this car would be very familiar with all of you because this is where we began the videos. Now, initially, I did plan on recording outside, but it is so hot that I was sweating after about 3-4 minutes of recording. So I thought, you know what, let's come to the car because it'll be a little bit easier to record. Now, this video, I'm predicting it's going to be pretty long. It's going to be pretty long. On Instagram, you guys voted, and you guys voted for Sing Song, Mother Any Distance, Climbing My Grandfather, Neutral Tones, and Walking Away. Those were the top 5 poems that came out. Now, afterwards, I wasn't fully sure why people voted for Sing Song, because Sing Song, if you're part of the AQA exam board, came up last year. But that being said, Sing Song is a good poem to use for comparisons. So guys, look, I'm gonna go over each of the 5 poems. This video, I hope, doesn't get too long. In the description, I'll put the timestamps so you know where each poem begins if you want to skip to a particular poem and don't want to watch all of the video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. That's where I do a lot of the posts. Subscribe to the channel, share the video. Alright guys, let's begin. So we start with Mother Any Distance. If you want, use your poetry anthologies, make some notes. But guys, very briefly, this poem is initially about a mother and a son. Now contextually, you want to make the point that there are many stereotypes when it comes to mothers and their sons. Sons are spoiled, sons are the favorites. Mothers can't let go of their children, especially their sons. And that's your kind of social context, because that's very strong in this poem. Now, let's go straight into it. The poem begins and it says, mother, pause. And that's very important. Mother, pause. Now, it almost implies that whoever the speaker is, now we'll get that in a second, but initially, whoever the speaker is, they almost are hesitant. They almost are hesitant to say what they want to say. They say the words and then they pause. And it shows very early on that there's not friction. I wouldn't call it friction, but there's some uneasiness. Mother, any distance greater than a single span. So anything more than a hand span. God, my hair's flying. Any distance greater than a single span requires a second pair of hands. Now, at this point in the poem, I would make the point that yes, our speaker is the son, but it appears that the son is echoing the words of the mother. Any distance more than a single span requires another pair of hands. He's almost implying that you can't let go of me. If I get as far as a single span, now it's a hyperbole, obviously guys, it's a hyperbole, he's overdoing it, but he's saying that if I am away from you just by a single span, you can't let go. You reach out and you clutch me. And that's the initial first point you want to make. The writer sets that mood as the mother being very controlling, the mother being very in her son's life. She can't let him go. If he gets away more than a single span, she has to come and she has to interfere. He goes on, you come to help me measure windows, pelmets, doors, the acres of walls, the prairies of the floors. Guys, in the first stanza, you want to make the point that the writer has used distance to show their relationship. Initially, it's a single span. Then it goes to them measuring windows, which are obviously more than a span, then to acres. And the point you want to make is the actual distance is very powerful in this poem. In the first stanza, the writer is slowly getting further and further away. Him buying a home, because that's what he's done. He's bought a home and the mother is coming to help him fix the home and put out windows or whatever. And in this home, as they're doing more and more work, as he's getting more and more kind of settled into that house, the distance grows and grows and grows. Okay, let's carry on. You at the zero end. you at the beginning. So you're on one side, they've got a measuring tape. Now what's this measuring tape a metaphor for? We'll go to that in a second. But you at the zero end, me with a spool of tape, recording length, reporting meters, centimeters, back to base. Like, that's very important. Imagine a measuring tape, and he's pulling away, and he's pulling away, and he's pulling away, and he's pulling away. Now this could be a metaphor for their relationship. At the beginning, when the measuring tape is closed, it's like this. But as their life, as he grew older, 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 10, 20, the measuring tape grew further and further and further and further and further away. But what did he have to do? He had to report back to base. No matter how far he went, no matter how far away he got from his mother, he would always have to come back home. He would always have to come back to his mother. He could not be allowed to go and spread his wings. Now, the language, report back to base, it shows that he is not fully happy. He's not fully content with having to do that. Reporting, signing in. Yes, mother, I'm home. Yes, mother, I'm here. Then leaving up the stairs, the line still feeding out, unreeling years between us. Okay. There's two important things here, guys. Now, leaving up the stairs, obviously he's gone further away. That line still feeding out, it could be a reference to the umbilical cord. The idea that even though it was detached when I was born, it has always connected us. Now, it ends by saying, anchor, kite. Now, you're going to pause here for a second. The anchor and the kite, they are introduced in a very abrupt manner. You don't expect them to be coming in the poem like that. All you get is anchor, full stop, kite, full stop. The anchor is the mother, the kite is the son. The anchor holds him, grounds him. Now, I would argue this is a positive metaphor. That the mother is the one that secures him, she builds the foundation, she holds him, allowing him to be the kite and to fly free in the world. That's what we think. Let's read on. I spacewalk through the empty bedrooms. What's happening here? How is he spacewalking? Guys, where do you spacewalk? You spacewalk high, high, high in space. Again, he's showing how he's far away from the mother. That's what he's trying to emphasize. He's trying to emphasize that I am no longer with you. Me being me, guys, this bedroom is like a metaphor for the relationship. He's saying, I've gone so far away from you, it's like I'm spacewalking. I'm that far. Climb the ladder to the loft. So he's in the bedroom, he opens that, he gets to the loft, to the breaking point where something has to give. That line, the strain on their relationship now. Something has to give. He's tugging, she in one way, she's tugging the other way. Something has to give. The relationship is under strain. He's growing up, he's moving out, he's got a life, he's spreading his wings. But the mother, the anchor, is pulling backwards. And the relationship is under strain. I reach towards a hatch that opens on an endless sky to fall or to fly. The poem ends with him breaking free. He doesn't know if he will succeed, he doesn't know if he will fail, but he's daring. He's fearless. He wants it so bad, to fall or to fly. Either I'm going to sink or swim. Either I'm going to fail or I will succeed. But let me try. Let me go and give it a shot. Now guys, look, I don't want to talk too much about the poem because this video will be on forever. But you want to make the point that the themes in this poem, there are two particular themes that I will look at. Number one is the idea of attachment. Love makes it hard to let go. And the second thing, guys, I will literally question, what does this poem say about love? Love, the word love is associated with positive emotions and a lot of positivity. But in this poem, I would argue love can be seen as very, very negative. where love is something that arguably ruins the mother, because she becomes controlling, she becomes obsessive, she becomes somebody who only lives for the love of her son. He becomes her life. Whereas the son, his love for the mother arguably becomes diluted. We don't really know how much he loves the mother, because the mother's love is so overpowering that he can't also love back. She doesn't allow him the chance to love, because her love is just too strong. Therefore, what does he do? He pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls to a point where that strain is so immense that he kind of just breaks it free. Now guys, that is Mother in a Distance. That is Mother in a Distance. Now guys, when it comes to the structure of the poem, there's no clear rhyme scheme. It's irregular, even when it comes to how many lines there are per stanza. And I would argue that that's reflective of their relationship and the strain. So for example, as the lines get longer, does the strain increase? Having no particular rhyme scheme shows how everything is unexpected. The relationship isn't like this. The relationship is like this. Things are happening as life is changing. Alright guys, that is Mother in a Distance. If you have any particular questions for this poem, oops, why is it getting so dark? Guys, if you have any particular questions for this poem, why have I ruined the brightness? Guys, if you have any particular questions for this poem, please drop them down below. I will answer them. Let's move on and let's do one of my favorites. Let's do Climbing My Grandfather. Alright guys, this is, if we're comparing now, this is probably the opposite of Mother Any Distance. Let's go through it. Actually guys, let's slow down a bit. Historically, grandparents spoil grandchildren because they don't have to play the role. They don't have to play the role of father or mother. They have free reign to almost say and do as they please. Alright guys, I decide to do it free. It's a very abrupt opening. I decide. Not him, not her, not my dad, not my mom. I decide. Decide to do what? To do it free. Without a rope or a net. Now, this child is climbing their grandfather, but they're not doing it with a rope or a net. Meaning what? That they are not doing it with safety. They don't need to have safety in case they fall. And guys, from the very beginning, I would argue that it shows and it creates the impression that this child has a lot of comfort in their grandfather. That's why they do it without a rope or a net, because they know if they fall, their grandfather will catch them. They know if they fall, they will be protected. I am not going to climb a building without protection, unless I'm a really good climber. Point being, this child would not climb their grandfather without protection if they didn't trust that their grandfather would take care of them. So from the very beginning, it shows a lot of trust between these two. First, so guys, imagine grandfather sitting down, I'm guessing on the sofa, and the child climbing. This child crawling to the grandfather, and the first thing they touch is the old brogues. So it starts on the feet. It starts on the shoes. Now, dusty and cracked. Dusty and cracked. Why does the poet start with the shoes being dusty and cracked? It implies from the very beginning that the grandfather has not had an easy life. Yeah, he's a hard worker. He's somebody, guys, those shoes, they could be a metaphor for the kind of life he's led. A harsh life, a tough life. Dusty and cracked. Lots of onerous work. And then an easy scramble onto his trousers, pushing into the weave, trying to get a grip. And guys, he scrambles onto the trousers and he pushes into the weave, trying to get a grip, trying to find his kind of hold. And the fact that he's able to do this, guys, it creates an image of them being able to play quite lovingly and quite peacefully. Now, think about this part here. Trying to get a grip. He's trying to get a grip. He hasn't got one. He's trying. Now, guys, if you look at the relationship, it shows how to have a relationship is not easy. You must try. You must put the effort in. This child climbing. Guys, for a child to climb. Remember, guys, this is a metaphor for rock climbing. So for a child to climb a human body, it's like a human being climbing a mountain. But what will a child achieve in the process of trying? They will achieve love, comfort, security. Love is not easy. You must make an effort. That is what the poem is saying. By the overhanging shirt, I change direction, traverse along his belt. So move along his belt to an earth-stained hand. Now, guys, look. My hand isn't earth-stained. I don't think it is. If you look at a lot of people who are like builders, or do hard jobs, their hands show their work. They're rough and they're normally quite, what's I'm looking for, hard. Again, guys, it reinforces the idea that this man, this grandfather, has worked all his life. And it creates the impression that he's worked all his life for his family, his children. Oof, this part's a bit interesting. The nails are splintered and they give good purchase. Now, guys, the child, ironically, is using the grandfather's pain, the grandfather's work to almost progress in life. Give good purchase. Good guys, good purchase. It's like me holding against this and climbing up. So the child goes against the nails, grips in and moves on. Point being, the grandfather worked hard. And these are the wounds, these are the scars. Sorry, guys. These are the scars of his work. But who benefits from it? This child. This child uses this to succeed. On his arm, I discover the glassy ridge of a scar. Again, it reinforced the idea. Look what the child does with this scar. I place my feet gently in the old stitches and move on. Again, the scar, guys. Can you imagine having a scar on your arm and it's left stitches? Sorry, and the scar's right there. The child uses that to get a footing and to move on. Again, the child uses everything that the grandfather went through, the suffering, the pain, the hardship, to move on in life. It's as though everything the grandfather went through was to make life better for his future family. At his still firm shoulder, I rest for a while in the shade, not looking down, for climbing has its dangers. Again, guys, it gives the impression of security, of comfort, of trust. Guys, shade. Yeah, he's protected, he's covered. It's really beautiful imagery. And then pull myself upon the loose skin of his neck, to a smiling mouth to drink among his teeth. How is he drinking amongst his teeth? He's kissing him. The child goes up and the child kisses the grandfather on his cheeks. Sorry, on his lips. But to drink, the fact that they've used the metaphor to drink is implying that this... Why does my hair look so bad? That this process of drinking is giving the child life, is giving the child nourishment. These kisses, this love, this sign of love, it gives the child hope and life and energy. It gives them the power to climb. Reaching for the summit, with gasping for breath, I can only lie, watching clouds and birds circle, feeling his heat, knowing the slow pulse of his good heart. Okay. It's like they've conquered. It's like they've conquered a feat. They've conquered a mountain. They've conquered a challenge. Reaching the top, they've done it. But what does that represent? Guys, I would argue the climbing process is teaching us how you love somebody. You take lessons from their life. You learn from their hardships. You appreciate what they've done. So the dusty brogues and the cracks and the scars and the earth-stained hands, you understand what they've done and you use that as a means of loving them. You don't not appreciate them. If you want to compare to Mother Ain't Distance, you could argue that in Mother Ain't Distance, maybe the son is not appreciative of what the mother has done for him. Therefore, there's a strain on that line. Whereas in this poem, this child is very appreciative. This child understands everything the grandfather has done. Guys, this I think is a very interesting, very straightforward poem. So if you have any questions, any further questions on this poem, please don't hesitate to ask. Guys, a few things. It's a first person poem. There's one stanza, 27 lines. The one stanza, I would make the comment that it represents the idea of love. There's no interruptions. There's no pauses, there's no breaks. They are doing it in one straight climb. Alright, that's 2 down. That's 20 minutes. I'm predicting this video might end up being 50 minutes. Let's move on. Let's jump to walking away. Should we do walking away? Yep, alright, let's do walking away. Again, guys, this is a similar poem to the last two. This one is looking at people moving on. So in this one, you're looking at a child want for independence. Alright, let's read the first stanza and then we'll go over it. It's 18 years ago, almost to the day, a sunny day with leaves just turning. The touchline's new rule since I watched you play your first game of football. Then like a satellite wrenched from its orbit, go drifting away. Alright, guys. The opening, it is 18 years ago, almost to the day. Guys, it starts like a story and it starts off very, very informal. But at the same time, it starts off straight to the point. 18 years ago. The speaker, we're assuming it's the parent, hasn't forgotten this particular date. It's stuck in their mind. Yeah, I find it hard to remember what happened 6 months ago, let alone 18 years ago. So this speaker, the guy is stuck in their mind. Whatever they're going to tell us next, whatever is coming up next, is very important. The fact that they've remembered it, the fact that it sticks out in their mind, it shows us that they've remembered everything about this day. It was a sunny day with leaves just turning. Alright, guys. Change. This is the beginning of a new season. So you can use nature to reflect how us as people change. Sun comes out, people's atmosphere changes, people's moods change. So it was a sunny day and things were just turning. Second thing you talk about, this could be pathetic fallacy. The idea of the mood and how the environment reflects what's about to happen in the poem. Just as the weather and the mood changes, maybe their relationship also changes. The touchline's new rule. So guys, touchlines, I'm guessing it's a football pitch. Since I watched you play. Since I watched you play. The father now is talking about him watching his son play a game. Guys, since I watched you play, from the very beginning, I would argue, creates a bit of distance. The father is the watcher. The father is the observer. The son is the one who is involved in the game. All the father can do is simply watch. Passively. Can't get involved. And could this be foreshadowing their relationship? Just the way the father is sitting quietly, watching, can't get involved. Is this the beginning of how things will map out in their relationship? Your first game of football. Then, like a satellite, wrenched. Guys, very important here. Wrenched. Because I haven't got anything with me right now. But if you wrench something, you pull it very, very harshly. It's not smooth, it's not soft. You pull it out completely. this change, what is the right saying? That this change that came was abrupt. Things changed like that. There wasn't a break. There wasn't a pause. There was no build-up. Things changed so quick that the father maybe wasn't even ready for it. From his orbit, go drifting away. Now, this is interesting. When did the boy change? The boy changed around the time he began to play football. From his orbit, go drifting away. It wasn't flying. It wasn't smooth sailing. It's drifting all over the place. Now, guys, this could mean two things. It could mean that the father wasn't ready, and the split that happened prematurely. But it can also imply, guys, it can also imply that the child was very, very young and very, very immature. Maybe them playing football, maybe it got to their head that, you know what, I'm young, I'm independent, I'm playing games, I've got friends now, I don't really need my dad as much. Go drifting away could imply that when this split happened, the child maybe went down the wrong path. He was all over the place. Because the split was wrenched, it happened so quick that the child just left so quick that the father and the child were not ready for it. Behind a scatter of boys. And I think this could mean two things. Number one, it could be what's replaced the father is the scatter of boys. He's got friends now. He's got teammates. He's got other people that he relies upon other than his father for advice, for friendship, for company. Scatter, the word scatter could imply that just like his son, these boys are also all over the place. But this could be biased. This could be from the father's point of view. I can see you walking away from me towards the school. Guys, I'm going to be quick with this one. The child is still young. Set free into the wilderness. The gate of one who finds a path where the path should be. Alright guys, this one could be interesting. Set free into the wilderness implies that he's like an animal who's prematurely been sent out into the wild. Now, what happens to an animal that's been sent out prematurely into the wild? Normally they are attacked and destroyed by the stronger, the bigger animals. Who finds no path where the path should be. Now, guys, in the Bible, in the Bible, the children of Israel, they explored and they moved around for a long time. And this line could be referring to a biblical reference. And it could be talking about the idea that just the way people seek guidance and meaning and purpose from religion, this child has been set free to seek its own purpose. Before, he was told everything by the dad. So this is what you do, this is what you don't do, this is who you talk to, this is who you don't talk to, this is what you believe, this is what you don't believe. But now he's almost setting out his own path. He's figuring out who he is without the aid of the father, who finds no path. Lost completely where the path should be. They can't find the right path. The father thinks my son is lost. The father thinks my son can't find direction. The hesitant figure eddying away. Let's talk about the word hesitant. Who is hesitant? Because the child is hesitant. Even though he's moving away, he's still kind of stuck. Now, eddying, guys, imagine the shore in the water, slowly going back and forward. Hold on. Forward and back. Forward and back. He's hesitant. He's moving forward, moving back. Moving forward, moving back. He hasn't completely broken away. Like a winged seed loosened from his parent stem has something I never quite grasped to convey. Above nature's give and take, the small, the scorching ordeals which fire one's irresolute clay. I have had worse partings, but none that so gnaws at my mind still. Perhaps it is roughly saying that what God alone could perfectly show, how selfhood begins with the walking away and love is proved in the letting go. Let's go over that. Alright, guys, the father implied that this isn't the first time he's had to let go. Maybe he's implying about other relationships. Could be the mother, could be other children. But out of all the partings, out of all the previous, let me put the window up because people are talking a little bit loud. Guys, out of all the partings, out of all the previous ones, this one weighs on his mind, gnaws, is biting away at him. And guys, this one shows you the father is almost living in, he's almost lying to himself. Because later he says, like, you know what, let's read on and we come back to this. Selfhood begins in walking away and love is proved in letting go. So he's saying that you prove how much you love somebody in your ability to let them go. But at the same time, he says that it gnaws on my mind. Yeah, guys, he's saying that it gnaws on my mind. He can't let go of it. So has he truly let go? I would say no. Physically, yes. Emotionally, mentally, no. I would argue that he's not let go. But this line, love is proved in the letting go, it's like he's made this up just so he can feel better about this. And better about himself. That I proved how much I loved my son by letting him go, but really, nah mate, you have not let him go. Now that line, love is proved in the letting go, that line is very important, and you can use that for walking away. You can use that for climbing my grandfather. You can use that for a lot of poems, and you can debate that idea. That is love actually proved in the letting go? Or if you really love somebody, do you have to even ever let them go in the first place? Because surely they will always be there. So guys, this poem I would say is two things. I would say, again, it shows the relationship of how time forces love to change. Yeah, and that's what I argue. Time forces love to change, not disappear, not evaporate, but to change. And the biggest problem these parents face in these poems is that they can't adapt it to different parts of life. They want their love to be the same way it was when the child was a child. But when the child has grown up, they can't change and adapt their love to match that time, that place, that environment. And guys, number two, this is a very, very good poem to compare with Mother and Distance. That one, mother and son. This one, father and son. And you can do the comparison. Which one finds it easier? Which one finds it more difficult? How do they let go? How don't they let go? I would argue that the father is a little bit more accepting. But is it because we are reinforcing male stereotypes? Who knows? Alright guys, we are at 33 minutes. I'm actually quite enjoying this video. It feels good to teach you guys about these poems. Obviously I can't go over them in a lot of detail because I'm conscious of the timing of this video. But guys, honestly, drop me any questions. If you want more stuff on specific poems, maybe drop me a message and I'll make longer videos on each of the poems. But I'm conscious that the exams are not far at all. We've got 2-3 weeks. That's why I thought, you know what, let me just bang out 5 videos in one go. Sorry, 5 poems in one video because you guys wanted it via Instagram. Alright, I will leave Sing Song till last. Actually, no, let's do Sing Song now. Guys, sing, the word sing, it means lion, and it means lion, so strong and brave. Title is Sing Song, oxymoron. It's almost a play on words, that this lion and this bravery and this courage has almost become like, not a joke, but diluted, a bit watered down. Now guys, this poem, people misunderstand it. This poem is a very good poem for comparison, and it shows you the danger, arguably, and the problems of mixing two cultures. This particular poem is mixing the Sikh culture with the English culture. God, I love reading this poem in this lovely accent. No, I'm joking, I won't do it. I run just one of my daddy's shops. Guys, 3 first points you want to make. I run. Actually, no, let's start from the ending. Daddy's shops, again, guys, is fulfilling stereotypes. Asian people, what's the stereotype? That Asian people have corner shops. We can deny it all we want, but it's the truth. That's the stereotype. That Asian people have corner shops. Now, what does he call his dad? Daddy. I don't call my dad daddy. But again, guys, it reinforces the idea that he's a man, but he's a baby. Yeah, he's still his mother's son. He's still his dad's son. He's not fully grown up. He's not fully allowed to be free. I run. Again, guys, it's the idea of how they make how a lot of children would end up working for their parents in these shops. Now, what hours does he work? From 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Again, is reinforcing stereotypes that Asian people work a lot. They work all of the time, 12-hour shifts. Now, what does that do? It leaves no time for life, for relationships, for family, for wives, for children. More importantly, guys, for this particular poem, for love. And he want me to not have a break. He wants me. Who's the he? The dad. Guys, this speaker is newly married and his father doesn't want him to have a break. It shows two things. Number one, he's controlling. But number two, the father doesn't understand what a newly married man goes through. He doesn't understand love, relationships, and so on. He just wants his son to work. That sounds like Rihanna. But when nobody in, I do the lock. So when no one's around, he locks the shop. I go upstairs. So cause up the stairs is my newly bride. Alright guys, two important things here that I want to make a point. Up the stairs is my wife. So again, it's reinforcing stereotypes that the couple is living with the parents. They're living up in the shop on the first floor, sorry. But the son is a little bit of a rebel. His love is making him rebel against his parents, because when they're not around, he locks the shop and runs upstairs, which shows you that no matter what we think about this poem, the son tries to put his wife first. We share in chapati, we share in the chutney. Guys, the rhyming is very humorous, it's very relaxed, and we have made love like we're rowing through Putney. Do you guys really want me to elaborate on that? But again, guys, they're newly married, they're having fun, and I'll stop at that. When I return with my pinion tied. Now, guys, this one's very important. It shows you that how young, not immature, careless this young man is in love. He locks the door, goes upstairs, spends time with his wife. He comes down, opens the door, but he's not fully dressed. He's just getting changed while he's opening the door. So obviously people know what he's up to. So he's not very good at hiding what he's been doing. But it's very humorous. It gives the poem a very humorous tone. It shows how his love is very innocent, very young, and there's not a lot of layers to it. It's just raw. And the shopper's point, hey Singh, where you been? Your lemons and lime, your bananas and plantain. This dirty floor needs a bit of a mop. It's the worst Indian shop on the whole Indian road. Okay. What's dropped because of love? Guys, because of love, the standards of the shop have dropped. But does he care? His love is more important to him. And that's the point you want to make of the gap in generations. His father's generation, their priority in life, what they cared about a lot was money, shops, business, and so on. Whereas his generation, what they care more about is their family, their love, and their relationships. Money is important, but not that important. Okay, guys. Just reading the next part. Above my head, high heel tap. Above my head, high heel tap. What's she doing? Why is she tapping her high heel upstairs? Maybe she's trying to distract him. Maybe she's trying to get him to come back upstairs. As my wife is on the web playing with the mouse. Now look, what is the stereotype? What do newly married Asian brides, or what are they expected to do? Anybody? Anybody want to put a comment down below as to what are newly married Asian brides expected to do? Housework, clean, cook. Housework, clean, cook. What's she doing? She's on the computer. She's breaking stereotypes. She's not like her mother-in-law. Yeah, things have changed. She's a little bit different. What's she doing? She's on a dating website, getting people hooked up. She's netting to seek love of sight. She booked them for the meet at the cheese of her price. She's up there choosing, not up there choosing, she's up there matching people up, getting them hooked up. Now guys, my bride, she... And guys, this point I made earlier about her not fulfilling stereotypes of Punjabi, Sikh, predominantly Asian women as brides carries on. She's effing at my mom in all the colours of Punjabi and stumble like a drunk, making fun at me daddy. She's mocking Singh's parents. She's mocking how they are. So she's swearing at the mother and she's acting drunk, mocking the father. Shows, guys, this is interesting. It shows no respect for the man's parents. Guys, the next part is very repetitive, so we're going to skip it. We'll jump to where it says late in the midnight hour. Late in the midnight hour, when your shoppers are wrap up quiet, when the precinct is concrete cool, we come down whispering stairs and sit on my silver stool, and behind the chocolate bars we stare past the half-price window signs at the beaches of the UK in the brighty moon. Guys, it's like they're in prison. It's like they're stuck in the shop. So when everyone's gone home, they come down, they sit behind the chocolate bars. It's like they can't leave and go outside. And they look outside and they picture how life should be and how they would want their life to be. It is romantic in a strange way, but at the same time, it's quite sad. They want their relationship to be a particular way. Now, the poem is humorous, but has a serious undertone. They want their relationship to be in a particular way. They want to spend time together. They want to do certain things, but they can't because of their family and the culture and what they've been told they can and can't do. Now, that's the serious take-home message. Their love is controlled. Their love is not free. And that's the basis of Singh Song. And then it goes in two stems. One is reality, one is expectation. It sounds like a meme, but it's true. One is what they must do based upon parents and culture. Two is what they want to do. And that's when he knocks the door and goes upstairs and so on. And guys, the poem ends on quite an interesting romantic tone. It shows us, so when they say, guys, from the stool each night I say, from the stool each night I say, it shows us that despite all the problems, these two within themselves are very content. These two within themselves are very secure. Okay, I am going to move on because Singh Song is not going to come up as a poem if you're in the AQA exam board this year, but it's a good poem for comparison. It's a good poem to look at. Love when it's controlled, but it still flourishes. Despite all the control, despite all the negativity around the relationship, they still make it work. Yeah, they still make it work. They still are able to succeed, spend time together, and be a little bit romantic. Alright, guys. 1 second. Let's end this video by looking at the final poem, Neutral Tones by Thomas Hardy. Guys, a bit of context. Many have argued, many have said that this poem is autobiographical and that it is about how Thomas Hardy wanted to marry, I think, his niece or his cousin, and he wasn't able to, and therefore his love, he was disappointed, and therefore he wrote this poem to reflect his disappointment. We stood by a pond. Guys, the first thing you want to make a point of the past tense. We stood by a pond. He's reflecting again, as with a lot of these poems. Looking back, he's reflecting on how a time was. When though? That winter day. Let me put the window up because it gets a little bit awkward when people are walking past. Alright guys, that winter day or creates an atmosphere of things being quite cold, quite harsh, not so warm, not so pleasant, and the sun was white. The sun was white. What's all that about? Now you want to make the point. The sun being white is very important. The sun being white shows how all the life, the color has been sucked out of the sun. It's neutral. Yeah, nature reflects their love. There is no passion. There is no drive. Just plain. Yeah, sun will just there's no there's no life in it. As though children of God, scorched, told off by God. And the leaves on the starving sod that had fallen from ash were grey. Alright guys, nature is being used massively to describe their love. And what is it saying? Their love is dead. Their love is lifeless. Just the way the leaves and the sun and the atmosphere is grey, gloomy, lifeless. Just that's exactly how their relationship is. That's exactly how their life is. Your eyes on me were eyes that rove over tedious riddles of years ago, and some words played between us to and fro, on which lost the more by our love. Alright guys, your eyes on me were as eyes that rove over tedious riddles years ago. Guys, now, they are looking at each other. Your eyes on me, so they're staring. But what kind of look is it? Is it a look of love? Is it a look of passion? Now, if you want, you can go look in the mirror and try to figure out what a look of love is. But you can tell. You can tell when someone looks at somebody with love. When someone's angry, you can tell when someone's angry. And their relationship, they look at each other, there's nothing, it's empty. It's like you're looking at like riddles of years ago. No one cares. There's nothing there. There's blankness, there's desertion. And some words, the words were insignificant. They said some things to each other, on which lost more by our love. The more they spoke, the further they grew. The more they talked, the more their love became ruined. Guys, it's literally a poem about them, their love disintegrating between us. The smile on your mouth, now I'm sure this is going to be very positive. The smile on your mouth was the deadest thing alive. The smile on your mouth, what a chat line. The smile on your mouth was the deadest thing alive. Now guys, what's happening here? Just reading the poem. Again, this poem has flipped everything upside down. Well, how is a smile, if I smile at somebody, I hope they don't say that your smile makes me feel dead. But the smile was the deadest thing alive. You can talk about the idea that it's two things. Either they know they can't be together, and because they know they can't be together, they're almost behaving in a manner to put the other off the other. So they're acting cold. Or number two, all the love has been sucked out of their relationship by society. So when they look at each other and they smile, there's no love. There's discomfort. There's maybe hate. There's major problems. And a grin of bitterness swept thereby like an ominous bird of a wing. Now, a grin. And guys, when I teach this, the word grin, when you read that, I think, yep, there's some positivity coming. Their relationship can't be that bad. But what is it a grin of? Bitterness. They're not happy. They're not content. It's like a smile of you feel sorry you're there. You don't want to be there. You feel bitter. Since then, he's learned a few lessons. That love deceives and rings with wrong have shaped to me your face and the God-cursed sun and a tree and a pond edged with greyish leaves. Alright, the video's 50 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here. Since then, he's not had luck with love because it's reinforced the idea that love deceives. Love is two-faced. Now guys, this is a very good comparison with walking away a mother in distance. All your life, all your time that you give to love, you give it thinking you will get this in return. But really, what do you get? You get the complete opposite. You get zero back. Your face and the God-cursed sun. And a tree and a pond edged with greyish leaves. Alright guys, the structure of the poem is cyclical. We end the way we start, but why is that important? You want to imply, I would argue, that you want to talk about the idea that our speaker is like in a circle with love. He tries, goes through the same cycle, ends up with negativity. Tries, same cycle, ends up with negativity. It's a very negative poem about love, and it reinforces the idea the whole way through how love is not positive and love causes destruction. Guys, look, I wanted to do them in a bit more detail, so talk about language devices and so on, but that would have made this video at least 2 hours long. If there's any particular poem, so any of these 5 or any of the other poems that you want me to go over in specific detail, where I do language, structure, form, AO3 on that specific poem, please let me know and I will do that. With this video, from the comments and the DMs that I got on Instagram, people just wanted to learn about the poems. What are they actually about? Because if you can grasp what they're about, the rest of it you can almost figure out. So I hope this gives you a good grounding. My advice is watch the video, make notes as I'm talking, learn them, and try to do some past papers. If you haven't, check out my Instagram. I'm not going to talk too much longer. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching this video, I hope you find it beneficial. Any questions, drop them down below. As always guys, it's been Mr. Eveything English. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Have a nice day. Take care.